Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Sunday, April the 12th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, ready to break down the Sunday NHL card. We got 6 games on tap for this Sunday, and again, more playoff implications. But the playoff picture did get a little bit clearer yesterday as far as NHL is concerned. Yesterday, when you look at the results of the games yesterday, and we start with Boston, who had a glorious opportunity at the time to clinch a playoff spot, even though later in the day they still did. But they had a 1-0 lead against Tampa. Tampa, though, with 2 goals in the third, and they end up getting a 2-1 victory over the Boston Bruins, handing the Bruins a rare home loss yesterday in that one. But Lightning 2-1 to keep their, I guess, faint Atlantic Division hopes alive. They've still got a chance, but obviously they're still battling with Montreal and with Buffalo for that opportunity. But home ice advantage in the first round is still at the very least at stake for them. So a win to help their cause there. The Ottawa Senators, what a great road win for them. Not good, great, because of the fact the New York Islanders, second game after a coaching change with Peter DeBoer, you'd figure they would come out strong, and they did. But Ottawa weathered it, got that first goal, and really played a solid defensive game. Linus Ullmark was good. They didn't give up a lot, and they were a little more opportunistic than the New York Islanders. Great win for Ottawa, 3-0, and that puts them in a spot where they're right on the doorstep, the Ottawa Senators, of officially clinching a playoff spot. They are going to get in. Really, it's just a question of when, not if, but they will have a chance to clinch later on tonight, playing in New Jersey, I should say, against the Devils. And we'll talk about, actually, they have clinched, a playoff spot in Ottawa last night. They are in. Yeah, they are in. So now it's just a question of finishing. They're not obviously going to move up to top 3 in the Atlantic. It's about wild card 1 versus wild card 2. That's going to end up being the question. But yeah, Senators and Bruins both clinched, of course, because of what happened with a certain team from the Motor City, which we'll get to in just a moment. Washington 6-3 against Pittsburgh, scoreless first period, and then 7 in the second. Still get that game over the total and keep the Penguins over streak going at 17-2 now in the last 19 games for overs involving the Pittsburgh Penguins. Capitals win 6-3. We jumped on the Capitals on the show yesterday when we found out that Crosby and Malkin and so many of the Penguins regulars were sitting yesterday. We jumped on Washington right then and there, and they ended up getting the victory pretty comfortably, 6-3 over the Pittsburgh Penguins to keep their playoff hopes alive. Of course, their only pathway to get in now is via the Metro Division. Nobody's going to catch Ottawa or Boston of the Columbus and Washington duo that's still alive. If those two teams want to get in, it's got to be catching Philly for third in the Metropolitan Division, pretty much at this point. L.A. 1-0. It was an Artemi Panarin breakaway, and that is all they needed to beat the Edmonton Oilers 1-0. Anton Forsberg, if the Kings get in, and certainly their chances are pretty solid right now, they're only 1 point ahead of Nashville, but they still have a game in hand on Nashville, which is significant. If they get into the playoffs, they can thank the decision-making of sitting Kemper and putting in Anton Forsberg, because let's be honest, Kemper's not been good down the stretch, and Forsberg was phenomenal yesterday. It's not like Edmonton didn't have great looks. They did, and he turned it aside every single time. A great performance in net from Forsberg. They've also cleaned some things up defensively, LA. That's certainly helped. But I think one of the main catalysts for giving LA this push, quite possibly into a playoff spot, is the decision to roll with the Swede in net, Anton Forsberg, and it's been the right call. He has stepped up to the plate, Alex, and delivered for this LA Kings team. Great performance, played solid throughout. I know they probably hoped they could have scored more than 1 goal. You got to give Ingram credit. Even in a loss, he was pretty good too for Edmonton. But Anton Forsberg has quite honestly played a huge role, Alex, in resurrecting the Kings season and possibly getting them into these playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's playing the best hockey of his NHL career, in my opinion. And now,
Most
we
definitely.
think about Alex Lyon a few years ago, how he helped Florida get into the playoffs late in the season. If he can make that kind of a push, it's not a bad position for the Kings to be in, because even if, okay, you start round one, game one with Forsberg, if he falters, you have a goalie who that can rise to the occasion. It's just a matter of maybe he needed, just some time to kind of clear his head, just a little bit of time to rest his body. But you have a guy who's won a Stanley Cup in Darcy Kemper, possibly as your backup going into the playoffs. It's not a bad position to be in. We talk about this all the time, how important it is to have two good goaltenders. And right now, having your backup being the guy to carry you into the playoffs, not the worst spot to be in if you're the LA Kings.
No, and like I said, they certainly took a big step to improve their playoff hopes with that win against Edmonton. Your Chicago Blackhawks, man, I think that might be the last time I put some shekels on them for this season. 5-3 loss to the St. Louis Blues. I did get the goal in the first period with Chicago. We did at least cash that. That's
Yep.
about it. But Alex hits a bargain bin with Ryan Green moving up to that top line, and he gets on the board, gets
Yep.
Chicago's first goal in that game. I thought the effort was certainly there. It was better, but obviously didn't get the end result in that one. And Soderblom, not great from his standpoint at all. 5 goals with a 5 goals allowed to a St. Louis team that just got the soul sucking season ender loss to Winnipeg. Not a
Yep.
good look. But Alex, disappointing there from Chicago yesterday.
Absolutely. On Hall of Fame night, where they were honoring a whole bunch of different legends for the team, that should have been a spot where that team got up and had a much better effort. Now, we did get the first period over, did get both teams to score, and Ryan Green in the bargain bin, all that happening off of that Ryan Green goal. So it was good from a money standpoint. Didn't get the money line there with the Hawks. But one thing that I thought was really interesting, too, is at the very end of that game, the response from Connor Bedard. He's at the corner of the rink breaking his stick, and just absolute disgusted look on his face. And you can just tell that there are some guys who obviously are going to be pieces that are going to stick around with this team, but the players at this point who are not going to be around, for next season and beyond as far as this rebuild goes. And I didn't mind seeing that from Connor Bedard, seeing that disgust on his face, knowing that, yeah, this was a game we should have had, and we absolutely blew it against a team that we don't like. Like I said, him and Nazar both have made it very clear that this is a rivalry, and I love that fact. And they don't want to drop games against St. Louis, no matter what time of year it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's the kind of competitive spirit Chicago needs in this dressing room now and moving forward. No question. Dallas 2-0. That sometimes you play with fire, you get burned, and we talked about the New York Rangers been playing a little bit better. Dallas maybe in a bit of a flat spot after beating Minnesota. But at the end of the day, it's going on the road after a nice homestand, and that's sometimes not always a good thing to back a team that's obviously had a pretty bad season. And the Rangers, I can't really say they didn't have a lot. They outshot Dallas. It was a good performance from Ottinger. They just weren't opportunistic. Jason Robertson doing all the scoring for Dallas. Power play goal and empty net goal for the victory there. Dallas now 6 points up on Minnesota. They clinch second in the Central, home ice in the first round. You got to imagine maybe they're sitting players tomorrow when they visit the Toronto Maple Leafs on Monday night. That'll become a game for exercise now. Monday night. But Dallas getting the victory there over the New York Rangers to pretty much solidify. That was a shit game for me. We had nothing hit in that game. That was a bad setback in that one. Nashville 2-1 over the Minnesota Wild with LA winning. That was a must for Nashville to get the job done against Minnesota, to at least keep pace and remain one behind. They were able to do that. Carolina 4-1 against Utah. This was kind of a split. We had the full game over, lost. The first period over hit, and that is now 12-1 for the Utah Mammoth. First period overs in their last 13 games. That was a game where the guys that played Thursday against Chicago, like Hall and Stankov and some of those other guys, they sat yesterday and they put back the guys that didn't play on Thursday. Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis, Slavin, all those guys played yesterday for Carolina against Utah, and they got the job done there. And the Detroit Red Wings, man, what a perfect exclamation point and icing on the cake to this season. To see them have their playoff hopes extinguished in a home loss to the New Jersey Devils. And not only that, But how many times have we seen them spit the bit and blow a lead during this rough March and April stretch? And it happened again last night. You think 3-2 at home, you can put it. Surely you could put it away against a non-playoff team on home ice. No, you can't. Cody Glass repair, tying it up 3-3. And then, of course, the late 4-3 goal after that for it was Jesper Bratt with about 3:34 to go. And then Dawson Mercer into the empty net to put it away. 5-3 Devils, 10th straight season out of the playoffs for the Detroit Red Wings. And because of Buffalo breaking their drought, Detroit now owns the longest Stanley Cup playoff drought now in the NHL. Yep. And I can see Alex is beaming from ear to ear. You can tell he's enjoying every minute of this, going back to the days of the hated Blackhawks Red Wings rivalry from back in the day. But another disappointment. I give Todd McClellan all the credit. Please, I implore everybody out there, go listen to his post-game press conference last night when he answered a question about the boos and getting booed off the ice by Red Wings fans after that game. Says we owned it. We earned it. We earn what we get based on our level of play. They pay the freight to get into the building. If they want to boo, that's their prerogative. It's on us to play better and give them something to cheer. It was a great response by Todd McClellan, a mature response and an accurate response. Credit to him for saying it, Alex.
Yeah, it's like that old line in the Joker movie. You get what you fucking deserve. And you had this team 89.5% chance of making the playoffs on January 25th. And then they go 9-15-4 on that stretch to end up missing the playoffs for the 10th consecutive season. As you mentioned, now the longest playoff drought in the National Hockey League. And this was a franchise that had gone 26, 27 straight years of making the playoffs before that. To see this crumble, and you beautifully summed it up. You said burnt crust at Little Caesars Arena. That's exactly what it's been since that building has opened. And with this franchise, the Iser plan is not working. Now, if you are a fan of the wing wheel, the best thing you can do at this point now is hope that the Grand Rapids Griffins can continue their dominance in the AHL, win the Calder Cup, and you start to see some of those guys end up with Detroit, most notably Sebastian Cossa. There's no fucking reason for him to be in a Grand Rapids Griffins uniform after this postseason. That man needs to be either the number 1 or number 2 goaltender for the Detroit Red Wings next season. Plain and simple. I said this 2 years ago. And you screwing around with Cam Talbot, which for the 4th year, I'll say it again on this program. If you are a franchise that is serious about making the Stanley Cup playoffs, there is no way you sign Cameron Talbot as a fucking goaltender. Plain and simple. Said it with Minnesota. He made that run and ended up getting hurt late. Ottawa was trying to make that push with him. He ended up getting hurt late. And then he was just an absolute bum with the Red Wings these last 2 years. You can't be serious about making the playoffs if you have that man on your roster as one of your top 2 goaltenders. You just can't. And you have guys like Patrick Kane, one of my favorite hockey players of all time, but he was so up and down this season. And he's showing his age at 37 years old. You can't have Dylan Larkin and Alex DeBrincat being your only 2 consistent offensive pieces the entire year. You have to have some of these young guys step up and deliver, and they just couldn't at the most opportune times late in the year. And so here we are, Detroit, out of the playoffs.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's perfect. And by the way, too, it's not just Cossa needs to be up with the Red Wings next year, and I expect it to be the case. I think it's more than beyond time because he's been spectacular with Grand Rapids in the American Hockey League, and I expect them to have a very long, very deep playoff run. Hey, there's some solace for Red Wings fans. You can cheer on Grand Rapids. They're going to have they have Calder Cup winning potential with this team.
No reason why they shouldn't win it.
Yeah.
No reason at all why they shouldn't run and win it.
Yeah. So cheer on them. Have some fun with the Calder Cup playoff chase for the Grand Rapids Griffins. Watch my guy from right here in the Hamilton, Ontario zone, Sebastian Cossa leading the way in net. But yeah, it's time that obviously he gets an opportunity next year. It's not just that Talbot is unreliable, inconsistent, below average, and then gets injured all the time. And John Gibson gave them everything they could, but even with him down the stretch, you could see he looked like a tired old man down the stretch. He was not the same in the last few weeks either.
We talked about it.
Skyrocketed in the last few weeks of the season when the games mattered most. And I think it's not so much that all of a sudden he forgot how to stop a puck. He's an older guy. He's had tons of injuries. He's played a shit ton of hockey this year, and he's worn down at the end of the season. That's why Gibson's fallen off a little bit late.
We all talked about it when he was in Anaheim and toiling and playing all these games with this bum team and going through injuries and playing through injuries. We said when he moves somewhere, he needs to go to a place where he can be a 1B option, where he doesn't have to play a ton of games and a ton of minutes. And sure enough, what did he have to do in the bulk of this year, especially between the Olympic break? He had to play a ton of games, and they ran him into the ground.
And
And
why? Why? Because they had no reliance and faith in Cam Talbot behind him. That's why. And
exactly.
for some
Yeah.
reason, we can't bring Kosa up, and it's crazy, crazy how they handled it. Yeah, but I don't think Alex can be too upset. Yeah,
No. At the end of the day, this is fantastic.
yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah, that's right. That exactly right. I just said. Yep, Tim. That's why they didn't have any confidence in Talbot in these big games. So they said our only option is to just run Gibson ragged down the stretch with all these starts in the last month in this condensed schedule as well for an older guy, and that's why he wasn't as good down the stretch. Yeah, he definitely, you saw a fall off because of fatigue. That's bottom line. And like I said, Detroit's definitely got some soul searching to do in the offseason. They need to get some DNA of guys to elevate in big moments. They don't have enough of that right now in this dressing room. They got a little Toronto in them where, you've got to get to a certain level when the games are at their most crucial. And they don't have enough guys that are pulling the rope and elevating enough to do that right now within this team.
When you're talking about an original six franchise, there's an identity that you have to play at. And you can say this, you can copy paste this for the Toronto Maple Leafs, you can copy paste this for the New York Rangers. They have to get back to finding their true and original identity.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Yep. 100%. Yep. No argument there. All right. That's the afternoon slate. When you look at the games that took place last night with there was a lot of games that didn't matter. So we'll be quick with Florida Toronto. I mean, I was happy that I had the first period full game over. The over by factor hit in that game. That's all I cared about. And it did. 6-2 Florida in that one. We saw Seattle beat Calgary 4-1. I had the over by factor here. That did not hit. So we got it in the Florida Toronto game. We didn't get it in the Calgary Seattle game, but Seattle gets a 4-1 victory there over Calgary. We saw, how about Philadelphia, man? 7-1 over Winnipeg. Best bet winner for Alex. Easily cashing that with the Flyers 7-1. I'm mad I didn't add more Flyers. I had the Flyers, but I said, I now that I look back on it, when I was watching that game and it got to 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, I said, well, no wonder they're rolling it up. Winnipeg just saw Nashville and LA both win, before this game started. And that puts them at slim to none to make the playoffs. And they kind of played like it, Winnipeg. It's like, geez, we didn't get any help. Nashville got 2 points up on us. LA got 2 more points up on us. And they kind of played like it, like we're really not going to make it. We're going to fall short. And they just didn't have that same, urgency that Philadelphia did last night. And the Flyers took it to them early and just continued it through there. Great response after really a kind of shit game from them against Detroit the other night where they had all those penalty issues. But that's great to see, Alex, the Flyers. And here we are, the Flyers. They are in the driver's seat. Now, I like what Sean Couturier, the captain, said in his post-game job's not done. I like that attitude. You haven't done shit yet. Still got work to do. You still got 2 games left, and you got to at least try to get more points and get this done. But a big step forward for Philly to getting the job done.
Yeah, and they've shown life that has been missing from all these teams that are now fading out of the playoff picture. They're winning games, coming back off of what was an absolutely disastrous loss. At least it looked like a disastrous loss to the Red Wings a couple nights ago. And we both said it. They had to get on board and blow this Winnipeg team out. And then when you add the fact, like I said, Winnipeg scoreboard watching and seeing their fate kind of falling apart, it was, barbecue chicken alert for the Flyers. And that team total cash through, money line cash through. That, like I said, it's an absolute blitz of a win for them. And now they hold the portal. The portal is only open now in the East through that Metropolitan Division. And now you see these teams kind of shaking back and forth. But Philly looks like they have the upper hand, and they're playing the best hockey at the right time.
They are. I mean, and so it's what the Flyer fan base, when they are a good team, it's really good, and we know that. And it'll be great to see. It's great to see everyone getting back into it. Long suffering. They've been out of the playoffs now for several years. So, like I said, they're not done yet. They still got work to do. But boy, they are closing in on a spot with that 7-1 win. And Porter Martone, man, excellent. Wow. So impressive in his first few NHL games. He scores another goal last night for the Flyers in that 7-1 victory. Columbus, man, they showed me a little guts last night. 5-2 win against the Montreal Canadiens. Unfortunately for them, it might be a little too late because they can't catch Boston or Ottawa. The wild card 2 is out of the question now for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Their only path now is Philadelphia, but that win keeps them just 2 points behind Philadelphia for that third Metro spot. And they do have the regulation wins tiebreaker over the Philadelphia Flyers. So that's why Philadelphia hasn't done anything yet. Columbus, that win. Now, we'll see today. This is now just paramount for the Jackets this afternoon, or early this evening, I should say, against the Boston Bruins, who might sit some people. You never know because they clinched yesterday. We'll see. But we'll have to look at that Boston lineup prior to them playing Columbus later today. But that's a huge game for Columbus. It was a great response last night. Charlie Coyle, I'd like to see him get in the playoffs because he's been so good for the Jackets, man.
Yeah.
What a season Charlie Coyle has given them this year. He's been excellent, and that was a good road win to keep their hopes alive. And, they're only 2 back, even in games left with Philly, and they do have the regulation wins tiebreaker. So, like I said, this is a huge one for them against Boston coming up later tonight. But they get the 5-2 win there. Vegas, best bet winner for me. Boy, Colorado, man. I'll give Colorado credit for one thing. They treated that game more seriously than they had any reason to, and I give them credit for that. They battled hard. In fact, that was a dead even game. There were times Colorado outplayed Vegas, but Vegas found a way. 3-2. Jack Eichel in overtime. We'll take it with the best bet cashing. Vegas plus 115 in that one. Great to see that. For the and yeah, I should have mentioned it. The Noah Dobson injury, big for Montreal, minimum 2 weeks, huge loss on the back end for the Montreal Canadiens. And like I said, that's already the one area where you're a little bit concerned about depth as far as the Habs go. But yeah, losing him to injury is an unfortunate turn of events. Yeah, I love the interview with Eric Johnson's really good on television. We're finding that out, and he did a great, funny interview with John Tortorella during that game. As well last night for ABC. But Vegas, a 3-2 win over and hopefully Jared Bednar is okay. Gosh, he took a puck right in the face in the third period. It looks like he went to the hospital. He was responsive. He's going to be okay in time. But boy, scary moment involving the head coach there of the Colorado Avalanche. We ended the night with Vancouver, 4-3 win against San Jose in overtime. Part of me was tempted to take Vancouver because San Jose looked like a team that's just run out of steam. And vulnerable as a big favorite, possibly even to a team like Vancouver, and it proved that way. 4-3 Canucks. We ended up getting the full game over winning, but we had San Jose team total over, and we had Vancouver to score in the first, and none of those hit. So it was kind of a frustrating game. Just picked the wrong types of bets to go with in that game, but we did have the full game over at least with the Vancouver San Jose game. And as far as the goal props, the Scott Oak, I got to mention that just before we move to Sunday's games. His last time hosting the After Hours player interview segment, player interview show that he's done for years on Hockey Night in Canada, because Scott Oak is retiring at the end of the playoffs. He's going to do some playoffs reporting for Hockey Night in Canada, but then he's retiring as well. What a great show. And to be honest with you, After Hours was the first long-form player interview type of deal, where you talk more about the player's background, their family, how they got into hockey, NHL stories from the past before, we saw Spit and Chicklets where they do the long form player interviews all the time now. After Hours was really the thing that introduced that, and especially on television. I hope it continues, because After Hours is a great part of what makes Hockey Night in Canada special. I hope the segment continues, but nobody's going to host it as well as Scott Oak. Nobody. He was absolutely phenomenal at it. What a career he's had. He did CFL way back in the day for CBC, mostly hockey, did some Olympics. Absolutely tremendous career, and we wish him well in retirement. It would be sad to see him not hosting After Hours anymore. And yes, got to mention this too. Congratulations, Denver Pioneers. Your 2026 college hockey Frozen Four national champions. We cashed with Denver money line. We cashed the draw. I had the draw pre-game, and guess what? After it was 1-0 Wisconsin, I got on Denver live, as I said I would, and I added more draw into my pocket at 1-0 Wisconsin in that first period. So that game actually treated me very nicely from
Nice,
a
yeah.
profit standpoint. Of course, we got that one, and actually the draw fell short, but nevertheless, it was just absolutely tremendous win for the Denver Pioneers. And David Carl, what is that now? 3 national
3 in
championships
the
for
last
him
6,
now.
yeah.
Yep, for the Denver Pioneers, a coaching. He's already a coaching icon now in college hockey. And if he stays there for a while, it's amazing what more he could do. But what a performance, too. Johnny Hicks, man. This goaltender was just spectacular. I mean, they don't win it without him. Like, they got outshot by both Michigan and Wisconsin in the Frozen Four. He was terrific, and they were opportunistic, Denver. With their Boston Buckberger was great for them, obviously. No relation to Kelly. They got some contributions from other players as well. And, of course, they rode the back of a red-hot goaltender in Johnny Hicks. So congratulations to David Carl, great head coach, and the Denver Pioneers.
Yeah, and I know the offers are going to be coming, every summer from now on until he decides, obviously it seems like he's comfortable there at DU, but he's going to have NHL teams throwing money at him, and rightfully so, because he clearly has the pedigree, not only with World Juniors as well as what he's done in Denver. He's shown that he's one of the top emerging coaches, at least for young players in this sport of hockey.
Absolutely, no question. All right, let's get into it, Alex, with the Sunday slate, and we are going to run it back with the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Washington Capitals. Second straight day they are playing each other. This time in DC, in Washington, we've got Washington minus 145 home favorites, 6.5 the total here in this one. I'm just running it back over 6.5. I don't even have to say anything more than that. I'll just leave it at this: 17-2. That's all you need to know. 17-2. To the over in the last 19 Pittsburgh Penguins games. And look, we were a little uneasy about the over cashing after that first period. I got to admit, it was scoreless, but I said it's early. It could explode. Boy, did it ever. 7 goals in the second period alone to send that game from scoreless in the first to over the 6.5. So I'm back on over 6.5. By the way, Charlie Lindgren's probably out due to injury. Logan Thompson started yesterday. You could very well be looking at Clay Stevenson, who's been summoned from Hershey to start for Washington. He did get into a few games earlier this season. I know he gave up 1 goal in 1 start, 3 goals in the other 2 starts he's had for the Washington Capitals. But we could be talking Clay Stevenson getting the start here for the Caps in this game. Skinner expected to be in net here at the moment for the Penguins. Look, we know who didn't play yesterday: Crosby, Carlson, Letang, Malkin. Your Ben Kindle. I'm seeing Connor Clifton, Noel Achari, Connor Dewar, Anthony Mantha. Like, it is a laundry list of absences for Pittsburgh. And yet the game still flew over the total yesterday. So, And plus, another thing, too, with all these new faces in the lineup, you're going to see for Pittsburgh today, Alex, because of these changes, you're going to see a lot of Shinikov. You're going to see a lot of Ville Koivunen. You're going to see a lot of Raquel, who's the one, veteran that's still in there. Tommy Novak's going to get a lot of ice time. Rutger McGroarty, one of their bit better younger prospects, is going to get a lot more opportunity today. Washington's obviously going to put a full lineup out there because they're still alive to maybe track down Philly for third in the Metro. So it's a huge game for the Capitals, who are currently at 91 points. They are 3 back of Philadelphia. So it's a little harder for them than it is for Columbus because
Right.
they're 3 back, not 2 back of the Philadelphia Flyers. But I'm definitely on over 6.5 for sure. I've already bet that. We'll see what the lineups are. Obviously, Pittsburgh's still going to rest a lot of guys. I mean, Washington probably should beat them again with everything that's at stake for them. But I think if you're going to bet Washington, just go with team total over 3.5, minus 125 or so. Certainly a better price on that than laying the $1.45. Pretty good chances that if Washington wins, they're scoring 4 here in this one. Alex, what do you think? Pittsburgh, Washington.
Yeah, just do like yesterday. Wait for a live 6 or better, and grab that. This is, like I said, this trend, and it was, like I said yesterday, a little dicey with the, at least I was worried about it. A lot of the overhaul changes for the Penguins. Maybe they don't show up and bring a lot of offense, and then the Capitals, maybe they just play a kind of low, slow game and try to slow things down. But that was not the case in that second period, like you mentioned, with the 7 goals here. So just keep on riding this train with these Pittsburgh overs. And I'm just going to wait for a little bit better of a pricing number.
Yeah, no doubt. By the way, as far as it goes, the Washington Capitals, here's the scenario where they can be eliminated. They can be eliminated with a regulation loss against Pittsburgh. That can definitely knock them out today without anything else happening. So keep that in mind. Now, it looks like I'm trying to get some updates because Rich H says the lineup has been updated here for Pittsburgh as of late. Let me just see here. It looks like Penguins PR. Following players will not play today: Ben Kindle, Nola Chari, Anthony Mantha, Ryan Shea, Connor Clifton. So, and that's all they list. So does that mean that the deluge of the vets, including Crosby, Malkin, Letang, they're all in today? It sounds like it. It looks like Rich says, it looks like Carlson and Letang are still out, but that Malkin and Crosby would be in today. And I don't get that, man.
That's weird.
Like I said,
That's weird.
that's the dumbest thing in the world. Why would you not play them yesterday in front of the home fans? Your final home regular season game. I'm going to rant on this one more time. Some 5-year-old kid might be there for his first ever Penguin home game. Why would you rob them of the chance to see Crosby and Malkin, and you're putting them in today on the road in Washington? That's ridiculous to me.
And that would have been game 100 between Crosby and Ovechkin. You would have had that at home to kind of give that up to the road team in that spot. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, that's stuff I think. Maybe they don't think about that kind of stuff. I do. Yeah, he hates kids, I guess, Dan Muse. No doubt. Maybe that's it. But yeah, I mean, that's I just would have. Don't you want to play? I see this all the time in sports. You play your best players. If you want rest scenarios, you play them at home. You don't play them on the road. So like I said, it's just, why are you playing them today on the road? Why didn't you play them yesterday at home? It's just I don't get it. But nevertheless, doesn't change my opinion here. 6.5. I like the over. I don't mind Alex's thought of waiting because we did see it start slow yesterday, and then the goals exploded in the second period. So you could go in that route as well. As far as props, I mean, it's hard to. We got to get a Pittsburgh lineup fully before we jump in on props. But I will say this. Hopefully I'm not late, but Ilya Protas has really looked good the first few games with the Capitals. So goal prop, assist prop, point prop. Anything like that with him makes some sense. He hasn't looked one bit out of place early on here for the Capitals. Now playing with his brother, Alexei Protas. You've got Ryan Leonard's really been starting to heat up. He had a really good game yesterday, 2 goals in the victory against Pittsburgh, 4 goals in the last 4 games, 5 goals in the last 6 games for Ryan Leonard. So he's really starting to find his game the right time. So Ryan Leonard goal prop makes a ton of sense here to me as well.
Hate to see what happened yesterday too with Rasmus Sandin.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't heard an update, but that looked really bad where there's 3 players helping him off the ice and he couldn't put any weight on that knee at all. So, that's
and PLD too. PLD with an injury as well in that game, upper body, and he didn't return. So we'll see if his status. It looks like a leg injury for Sandin. Status wasn't clear after the game. My guess is neither one's playing today, PLD and Rasmus Sandin. But again, that hasn't been confirmed as of yet. Keep an eye on that, certainly, before puck drop. This is the first game of the day, but it's not until 3 p.m. Eastern. So still a couple hours away. All right, Boston, Columbus. Columbus minus 150 home favorites, 6.5 the total here in this game. We've got the Jackets off a 5-2 win in Montreal last night over the Canadiens. And obviously the Bruins losing early yesterday afternoon to Tampa 2-1 to the Lightning. But because of what happened with Detroit later in the day, the Bruins still clinched a playoff spot. I mean, for Columbus, they're still very much alive. 2 points behind Philadelphia. They know that if they tie Philadelphia in points to end the regular season, Jackets are going to get the spot over the Flyers because they have the regulation wins tiebreaker on their side. So this is a huge, huge game. This is the game where if you're Columbus, you can really think we still have a chance if you win, and you're pretty much out of it. It's going to feel almost like you're out of it if you lose. So it's just a gigantic game here for the Jackets. We'll see. I have a feeling the Bruins could. I'm not saying they will because we don't know what Marco Sturm's going to do, but he could rest players, in this. Depends on how badly they want wild card 1 over Ottawa. Wild card 1 versus wild card 2. At the end of the day, you're not going to have home ice advantage anyway in the first round. So this could, and after clinching yesterday back-to-back, you could see Pasternak, and as who comes to mind, and maybe a couple, maybe McAvoy rested here for the Brew. We'll see. I don't know, but something to keep an eye on closer to puck drop. And Columbus going full bore, and I think Rick Bowness is going to go with Jet Greaves on a back-to-back. I don't think you're going to see Elvis Merzlikins. Well, all these big-time games have gone to Jet, so I would expect Jet to once again be in goal here for the Jackets in this game. The only thing I've moved on pregame is the draw. That's it. Although you could, if Boston's got a full lineup and they look interested, you kind of could talk me into both teams to score first period, but I've got to wait to see what this Boston starting lineup looks like before I even consider that. So the only thing I got for now is the draw here with Bruins and Jackets. Alex, what do you think? Boston, Columbus.
Yep, I grabbed draw plus 325, and I grabbed a little piece of Columbus to win in overtime or regulation plus 500, just simply because, like I said, they're the more desperate team in that spot. And I like what everybody's saying, too, about what Pasta needs. One more goal for 30 goals, one more point for 100. He might be able to get that 1 point via goal, and then we may not see him for the rest of the game. So, like I said, that opens things up. So this is one where you want to kind of take a look live as well. I think this is more of a live betting game. But pregame, I am on the draw and a little piece of CBJ to win it past regulation.
I think I might bet Jackets first goal, first period. They've been pretty good at doing that, especially at home. That's probably the look for me. First goal, first period. I don't mind that with Columbus here. Not the greatest price, but still, I'll take a shot with that. Plus, to keep in mind with the Pasta milestone, they got one more game after this, and it's their home finale against New Jersey. So that's another opportunity he will have. So, again, keep an eye on this Boston. That gut feel to me tells me there could be a couple guys missing and out today. For Boston. We'll have to wait and see on that. As of now, we are looking at, I would think, Korpisalo here for Boston on the back-to-back against his former team, and obviously the Jackets looking at Jet Greaves on the back-to-back, even though he played last night as well against the Montreal Canadiens. And yes, Charlie Coyle, how do we not? I mean, as far as props, my goodness. He was great last night against Montreal, his former Bruin. It just makes too much sense to bet Charlie Coyle here tonight for the Columbus Blue Jackets against his old team. If you look at the Columbus lineup too, as far as maybe another couple options, you've got Lundestrom with Fantilli and Marchenko, so there's a little bit of value there. Danton Heinen too. Don't forget, he actually scored a couple games ago. He's a former Bruin too, so you know what that's like. How the former player, it's uncanny sometimes how they can score against an old team, and maybe this means Danton Heinen could be someone to consider as well here tonight. All right, speaking of the Canadiens, the team that Columbus beat last night, they go to Elmont, New York to take on the New York Islanders. Islanders minus 120 home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. If you're Montreal going into this one, we've got, you look at the standings here. Montreal's got 104. They're tied with Tampa. They both have 2 games left. They're 2 points behind Buffalo. All 3 teams at the top of the Atlantic have 2 games left. Montreal's got 33 regulation wins. So another thing to keep in mind is they lose the regulation wins tiebreaker to both Tampa Bay and Buffalo. So the division is looking slim right now for Montreal. But you can still get home ice advantage in the first round if you go to second in the Atlantic at the very least. So there is still home ice advantage in that first round series to strive for if you're Montreal. Meanwhile, for the New York Islanders, this has got to have it. Obviously, they have no margin for error now after losing to the Ottawa Senators 3-0 yesterday. You must, and I mean must, pick up the 2 points here in this matchup tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. I would expect Jacob Fowler to be in net here for the Habs. It's back-to-back. It was Dobish last night. I would expect Jacob Fowler to get the nod here for Marty St. Louis and his team tonight. Probably Sorokin again, even though it's back-to-back for the New York Islanders. I can't envision Peter DeBoer going to David Riddick this late in the season in a game of this magnitude. So we'll have to wait and see. Dobson, obviously, the big injury for Montreal. Hate to see that. And like I said, Sorokin projected at the moment for the New York Islanders in this one. There's definitely a draw spot for me, no question. The Islanders, every point's valuable for both of these teams in a game like this. From a side perspective, I lean Islanders, though. This is starting to feel, to me, Alex, at least, like last Sunday. Remember we talked about Carolina-Ottawa last Sunday? And the big situational advantage Ottawa had. Carolina played against the Islanders at home Saturday night. They probably got into Ottawa after midnight. They had to play 5 p.m. Eastern Sunday afternoon in Ottawa, and Ottawa jumped on them. It was a scheduled loss for the Carolina Hurricanes against Ottawa last Sunday. This could be it for Montreal, believe it or not. And I say this for one reason, even though there's still incentive to win for the division and home ice. Montreal played last night at home against Columbus, Saturday night. You know how difficult Canada to U.S. travel and vice versa is. There's more headaches and shit that gets done when you're crossing and all that. It's more of a headache. It takes a lot longer. So they probably didn't get Montreal into New York probably until late Saturday night, maybe even after midnight. By the time, they got boarded the plane in Montreal after the Columbus game ended, it was probably after midnight when the Habs got into New York. Meanwhile, the Islanders played early Saturday afternoon, home against Ottawa, didn't have to travel at all, get to sleep in their own beds. They have the afternoon game, so more turnaround time available to the Islanders compared to the Canadiens. This feels like a big advantage for the Islanders, purely from schedules and situationals going into this game here. So I'm tempted to take the Islanders here. I probably will, because it worked out perfectly with this not the exact same scenario, but a very similar scheduling scenario that was heavily in Ottawa's favor last Sunday, and it kind of feels that way here with the Islanders, that this is a scheduling advantage for them big time here in this game. So I probably dabble in this Islanders side at minus 120. The draw, I know Jonathan likes the over, and that is worth noting. 13-1 to the over for the Habs versus teams with a goals against less than 2.9. In both games this season, Habs and Islanders have gone over the total. Yeah, I might dabble in that too. Probably add some more at 5.5, because right now this total 6. And I'll probably maybe add a little bit more if it falls to 5.5. I will bet this, though, pregame too. Islanders need points, want points. I think Montreal still does. I think both teams to score first period could be something to really, really look at here. I could see that. We've talked about how these big games where teams both need points in the game. BTTS is hitting a lot in these situations. Look at Columbus, Montreal last night. Perfect example of it. So first period, both teams to score. Sign me up. Plus price. Like it. Alex, what do you think here? Montreal, New York Islanders.
I like that both teams to score in the first as well, but I also like Islanders first goal, first period, plus 130. Like you said, based off of that travel angle, I think that's a solid spot. You're getting plus money on either side, which that's rare. Usually you have kind of a crazier split with that three-way for the first goal, first period. So plus 130, I am in on that with the Isles, but I'll also jump on that over by the in game. I want to get a better price in that first period over, as well as try and get a 5.5 out of that full game total. Little sprinkle in the draw. It's not my favorite draw. And like I said, the Habs, I mean, you blew an absolutely golden opportunity to not only take home ice, but to win this division, which would be huge, because you're talking about easily one of the best crowds that'll be of a playoff team in the league. And to have that on your side, now you may not have that at all, finishing third and giving home ice to Tampa Bay of all teams. That's an absolute blow to me. I just feel like Montreal should have played a much better game last night. And I granted, give credit to Columbus too, fighting for their lives in that one. But I thought we'd see a better early effort from Montreal, and just absolutely didn't. I will be on Cole Caulfield in anytime goal again. I mean, that's just something to ride. He's a guy who's usually just going to step up and deliver, no matter what day, no matter what the scenario is. So that's something I'll have there as well. But like an Islanders first goal, first period, both teams to score pre-game and then in-game waiting for the over by fact.
Yeah, for me too, on the Islanders side, Shen, who's been good lately, maybe Callum Ritchie as well, J.G. Pajot, Anders Lee, the captain, I could see him maybe finding the back of the net. But the one I like the most, give me Emil Heineman, former Montreal Canadian. I remember him scoring against Montreal earlier this year too. Emil Heineman. This is an Emil Heineman day, folks. It's time to get back on the Emil Heineman Express. We've had really good vision and good timing, it seems, with when to bet Emil Heineman to score a goal for the New York Islanders this season. I think this is a good time here tonight. He did score previously against his old team, the Montreal Canadiens, as well. So that's definitely something. Yeah, one shy of the defenseman record. So what I would say, too, for Jonathan with that is you just bet Matthew Schaefer every game remainder of the season, because he's trying to get that record. He's trying to beat Brian Leetch for the goal-scoring record for a single season by a rookie defenseman. So, I think that's definitely a good goal prop here as well. with the Habs and the Isles until he gets that record. If he gets that record, and he's only got a few more games to do it. All right, Ottawa Senators, New Jersey Devils. We've got Ottawa minus 120, minus 125 road favorites, 6 the total here in this one. So looks awfully cheap on Ottawa. They did clinch a playoff spot yesterday. Does that lead to a little bit of an emotional drop today for the Ottawa Senators? That could be a little bit of a concern that I have, but they're playing some really good hockey. They really are. And New Jersey, after eliminating Detroit yesterday, comes back home on a back-to-back. And this is another scenario where you'd think New Jersey's got the advantage. Well, they both played back-to-back, but when you look at it, New Jersey played later in the day against Detroit, then got to fly back to Jersey, get in Saturday evening. Ottawa played early Saturday afternoon against the New York Islanders, and they're already in the New York, New Jersey tri-state area. So it's actually a situational scheduling advantage here a little bit for Ottawa. They're already in the New York area. New Jersey had to come back from Detroit, and New Jersey played later in the day yesterday than Ottawa did. So I'm still on Ottawa here, minus 120.25. I like the way they're playing. Cheap price. They're finishing the season strong. They're on a nice win streak here. I look at that. Plus, there you go. Lost 10 straight home games when playing on a back-to-back as a dog, says Rich. So to further my case, the timing couldn't have been better as far as that's concerned. I think Reimer gets the start today. Pretty sure of that, especially after clinching yesterday. But he's been capable at times. And more importantly, New Jersey's going to go to Nico Daws. Nico Daws has already been confirmed for the Devils because Jacob Markstrom's been shut down for the season, and Jake Allen started yesterday. Nico Daws, he's got a sub-900 save percentage in the American Hockey League this year. That's not what you want to see. I know he started a handful of games in the NHL previously, but those numbers for Nico Daws in the AHL are not that great, not that good at all at the moment. So I still think Ottawa is worth a look here at minus 125. This could be a sneaky over as well. Maybe there's a drop in defensive intensity for the Sens, just a bit, because of the fact they clinched yesterday. Not to mention it is Reimer versus Daws. So there is a chance we see goals here. So give me Ottawa, give me the overs. Maybe full game over more than first period. Alex, what do you think here? Ottawa, New Jersey.
I'm waiting for this full game over to drop to 5.5. That's the only thing I can look at here, especially when I heard that Nico Daws is confirmed. Not that good of a goaltender. Like I said, Reimer and Ottawa, now you're clinched. They could be a little bit more relaxed. So I expect goals here. So just wait for the 5.5.
Yeah, I'm thinking, over's worth a look here as well. Yeah, Tom, there you go. How about that? I did leave the door open there. Coin LV has apparently confirmed it for us. Logan Thompson starting again for the Washington Capitals. I think you have to. I mean, I know Clay Stevenson's there, but these games matter. This is the time of year where you need the points here. You're trying to hang on.
Ride your number one.
Yeah, ride your guy. Ride your guy, 100%. Logan Thompson is confirmed in net here for the Washington Capitals this afternoon in a game that I'm sure a lot of the hockey world will be watching because it's a standalone game, 3 p.m. Eastern, and then everything else gets underway this evening. So Logan Thompson indeed confirmed in net here for the Washington Capitals. All right, good stuff. As far as props for this game, props for this game. Cody Glass repair, Cody Glass replace. This guy's heating up for the Devils, 3 of the last 5 games. He scored a goal. Dawson Mercer I like because he's still on the top line for the New Jersey Devils. Look, Jack Hughes, you can score every game at this point, how good he's been, but he's only plus 150. I would also consider here Fabian Zetterlund. How about him? He's a former New Jersey Devil as well, Fabian Zetterlund, and he's been chipping in for Ottawa. He's scored more often in the last few games, and he's plus 450. So that's one I would look at. And I might ride the train here because he's been such an impact offensively from the back end since coming back from injury. I told you Jake Sanderson yesterday when we talked about the Senators-Islanders game. He's jumping into the play. He's been awesome since coming back from injury. He scored a goal yesterday against the New York Islanders. Jake Sanderson, very live in my opinion, the way he's playing right now and making an impact offensively from the blue line for this Ottawa team. All right, next up, we've got just a couple games left. Vancouver, Anaheim. Anaheim minus 320 home favorites, 6.5 the total here in this game. Team total, you were hoping to get 3.5. No, they weren't giving you that. They're 4.5 here with the Anaheim.
And you
team
can't
total.
get a flat 4 at MGM because somebody there's been asleep at the wheel. I haven't seen a actual game, like basic game setup for MGM available on any of the games today. It's like they're just riding just strictly futures. I have no idea what's going on. That's been like that for over an hour now. So
Yeah, no
flat
doubt.
4s.
Vancouver finally didn't score in the first period, so it's now, I think, 6 of their last 8. I don't know if I'm going to come back to it. It is the system play, though. I have to. It's because Anaheim's minus 320. The system is in play here officially. We have to take Vancouver to score in the first period. We just have to. And I'm going to. I don't love it because I think this is a significant game for Anaheim. Anaheim finally got right, with the win against San Jose. How right remains to be seen because San Jose's run out of gas. Let's not give Anaheim too much of a pat on the back for beating the San Jose Sharks. But they did have a step-up game, no question. I believe we're going to see the return of Cutter Gauthier tonight. Coach Q left the door open for him to return tonight. He was trying to return for this game, Cutter Gauthier. At least the last update I got was that there's a real chance he could return for the Ducks tonight against the Vancouver Canucks. So if that's the case, look, we talked about how this offense hasn't been nearly as good, without Cutter Gauthier. And boy, what a huge boost it would be for the Anaheim Ducks to get him back. His scoring and on the power play, his presence on the power play was very much missed. Yeah, Gauthier, you're right. He said yesterday he's in, so that would be huge. I think I posted it on the Ice Guys chat. I forgot I did. So, yeah, I expect him to play here for the Anaheim Ducks. So, I like Vancouver to score in the first. I'm going to go both teams to score in the first. I'm going to wait for this first period over to drop. It's just way too expensive right now. And I'm going to dabble in the BetMGM, who's good with this, the period team totals. You can get increments. Give me a little of Anaheim over 1, Anaheim over 1.5 first period team total. I think they could really pounce on Vancouver early, too, coming off the win against San Jose last night, late into the night in a shootout. And now you got to go down to the southern portion of California here to play Anaheim for an earlier game at 8 p.m. Eastern compared to 10 p.m. Eastern last night. So I think that Anaheim first period team total is live. Over 1, over 1.5. You can find both of those at BetMGM for Ducks team total first period over. Alex, what do you think here, Vancouver, Anaheim?
Yeah, like I said, hopefully MGM will have everything up and ready at some point. Like I said, it's kind of weird how there's nothing available still for a lot of these games over there. But the one thing that I like is actually my bargain bin special, which I will talk about a little bit later.
All right, there you go. Nice little tease for later. Bargain bin special of the night for Alex coming from this Vancouver Anaheim game. And Cutter Gauthier had scored in 2 straight games before, and 6 of the last 10 before his injury. So he certainly was in good form prior to the injury. As far as goal props here in this one, we saw John Carlson with the hat trick last game against San Jose. That was very impressive. We even saw Frank Petrano hasn't had the same offensive season we've seen in the past. Even he got on the board for the Anaheim Ducks in that victory over the San Jose Sharks the other night. I think when you look at the situation as well, Carlson, Leo, that is, certainly had a great goal the other night against San Jose as well. And, he can maybe get it rolling a bit too. When he started to get on some heaters, it's been pretty tough to stop. So those would be a couple of the props I'd consider here for the Ducks in this Vancouver and Anaheim game. And we end the Sunday night slate at 9 p.m. Eastern with Utah being with where they're at in the standings right now. They look kind of like a team that might be playing for exercise here down the stretch. They lose 4-1 at home to Carolina yesterday. They're locked into wild card 1 pretty much at this point, like not very likely to be caught from behind either. Utah minus 160, road favorites, total here 6 in this game. Now, I will say this about Calgary. They've had some serious home-road dichotomy lately. On the road, they've been pretty much unbackable. I've tried to back them like an idiot a couple times on the road, and I paid the price for it. But at home, remember that recent homestand they had at the Saddle Dome? Calgary was ripping off some wins. If you look at the way they played, they beat Vancouver. They lost in overtime to Anaheim. They beat LA. They beat Tampa Bay. They beat Florida, all on that recent homestand that they had. They beat St. Louis as well on that homestand. So Flames have been playing good hockey at home. this game really matters not to Utah. I'm leaning Calgary. I'm not saying I'm going to bet Calgary, but it's the only side I could probably look at here in this one. Because, again, Utah's got 90 points. Actually, you know what? The Kings have 87, 3 back. There are 3 games left. So that maybe there is a potential they could drop to the second spot. Maybe this game will be impactful for Utah. So, yeah, that's probably going to be enough to. Yeah, you're right, Jonathan. That's a good point. I thought they had a little bit more leeway between them and LA. It's only 3 points, and there's 3 games left for both Utah and LA. So there is a potential of them slipping to wild card 2. And if you slip to wild card 2, you have to deal with the Colorado Avalanche in the first round. And I don't think anyone wants to do that. So, yeah, maybe Utah will come with some inspiration here, motivation, to make sure that, hey, we don't let LA have any chances of passing us for the first wild card. So with that in mind, I will definitely bet first period over. We have to. This is Utah. This is a 12-1 first period over run for the Utah Mammoth. A full game over run is, I believe, 7-2 now in their last 9. And one thing about Calgary is they do score more at home lately. They had trouble putting the puck in the net on the road, obviously. 1 goal against Seattle last night, 1 goal against Colorado, last 2 games of the road trip. But you look at the homestand, they scored 4 against Florida, 4 against Tampa, 3 against LA, 7 against Vancouver, competitive in a loss to Anaheim. So they were scoring a few more goals at home. So the first period over, we'll dabble in that at 6 and maybe add some more if it falls to 5.5. But number one bet for me here in this game is first period over, with the great Utah streak to the first period over in play. Alex, last game, Utah-Calgary.
Yeah, I like that first period over, of course, but I'm also going to go with Utah first goal, first period, plus 110. And I'm going to dabble just a little bit in Utah regulation money line, plus 101 is the price that I got over at Bet Online. I said this is, a little bit of importance, and they should be able to beat Calgary team. Even like I said, they had shown some life at home, but I think after having a long road trip in this first game back at home and wrapping up the year, and Utah could catch them early and maybe get these 2 points here. So Utah first period over, Utah first goal, first period, and Utah regulation money line at even money.
All right, good stuff. As far as props go for this one, I mean, on the Utah side, it's really, again, a lot of the players we've talked about. Lawson Krause, because he's still on the top line. There's value there. Gunther's been red hot. I don't mind it. Kyler Yamamoto on the second line. He started to percolate a little bit. I don't mind that. For Calgary, you look at their lineup. They have been scoring a little bit more at home. Farabee, Frost, and Gridden are options. As far as goals, Coronado and Sharon Govich are flanking Backlund, the captain, on the top line. I know Jonathan mentioned chasing Blake Coleman goal props down the stretch as he's 1 away from a milestone. Maybe we keep the chase going tonight and look at Blake Coleman again for Calgary to find the back of the net. So those are some of the props there I'd be looking at for Mammoth and Flames on this Sunday night to wrap up the slate. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. Thanks for tuning in on this Sunday. I'm always amazed. Over 475 or almost 500 viewers here on the Sunday show. So we appreciate it very much. Check out wizardsportspicks.com. I did Beyond the Lines for the YouTube channel today. Check that video out. Daily premium picks. Make sure you check that out at wizardsportspicks.com. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting cards, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. The Dub Club $50 off offer for subscription with me for all sports is still there too, for Patreon members only. And of course, a Patreon exclusive live betcast is coming your way this week before the end of the regular season. We will announce it on the day of the betcast, but it will be this week and it will be before the end of the regular season. So I'm excited about that. Make sure you get on board before that betcast and be part of that. So $10 per month. Again, your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. So check it out. Get on board. $10 per month over at patreon.com/Ice Guys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You have until midnight tonight Eastern to save 15% on all items in the store. Hit that redeem button at the homepage, add your items to your cart, and 15% will be taken off at checkout. Springtime, we got playoffs on the way. It's a great time to get some merch now from the Ice Guys and save 15% till midnight tonight Eastern. That's over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, you got till midnight tonight, so take advantage of that. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, bargain bin special of the night for this Sunday 6-pack of NHL action. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special of the night.
Yep, let's go after that Anaheim game. Like I said, Kutagochie being back in the lineup is huge for them. But I think the guy who's going to get things rolling for the Ducks early in that one is one Leo Carlson. Give me Uncle Leo. First goal of the game, plus 1,300. That'll be my bargain bin special for tonight.
Good stuff. Leo Carlson, first goal for the Anaheim Ducks for Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin special of the night. Bargain bin special of the night for me. I've definitely got one. I got to do some current, at the moment, as we're doing this, live price checking on the other. Let me see what we've got here. Okay, I will give you what I've got first for sure, and that's Emil Heineman for the New York Islanders. This is the day, man. This is the Emil Heineman spot to get back on board with someone we've cashed a bargain bin special with multiple times this season for the New York Islanders. He's up against his former team, the Montreal Canadiens. It's a huge game for the Islanders. He's also scored against the Montreal Canadiens previously, earlier this season. So Emil Heineman, New York Islanders, plus 390 at DraftKings. Looks to be the best price out there right now with his goal prop. So that's a very good price on that as far as bargain bin special of the night is concerned. And I was going to go with Leonard. Leonard's not bargain bin worthy. So I will still give you a second from that game, and it will be another Washington Capital. Hopefully he's got another goal in him like he did yesterday. Ilya Protas for the Washington Capitals. Really like what I've seen from him. Scored yesterday in the win against Pittsburgh, playing the Penguins again this afternoon. Best price, plus 370. Also at DraftKings for Ilya Protas for the Washington Capitals. So there you go. Ilya Protas, Washington, plus 370. And Emil Heineman, New York Islanders, plus 390 for my two bargain bin specials of the night for this Sunday NHL slate. All right, best bets for this Sunday. Yeah. Alex, what do you got for best bet?
Yeah, hopefully Hyman can chip in early because I like both teams to score in the first period of that Isles and Habs game. You can get that plus 180 at FanDuel. So I'm going Montreal, New York, Islanders. First period, both teams to score plus 180 is my Sunday best bet.
Good stuff there. Best bet there for Alex on that one with the both teams to score first period, Habs and Islanders. That'll be on my card too. I like that one as well. I think for best bet for me, I think it's going to be Ottawa, New Jersey over. I like Ottawa too, but the more I think about it, I could see New Jersey scoring at home, giving the fans something to cheer about. It is Reimer. I could see a dip in the defensive intensity after a win that clinched a playoff spot. Well, after Ottawa clinched a playoff spot yesterday with the win against the Islanders and the loss by Detroit later in the day. I could see maybe New Jersey scoring. I think Ottawa's going to score on New Jersey, though, because Nico Dawes, his numbers just aren't very good at the American Hockey League level. So we'll go with that for best bet. Give me that Senators Devils over 6, minus 120 for my best bet here for this Sunday NHL slate. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Again, we're back tomorrow on Monday. Looking forward to that. And again, we've only got 4 regular season shows left for the Ice Guys. Hard to believe. Remember, this Friday, too, a little programming alert. We will be on the air, and it will be our official Stanley Cup playoff preview show Friday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So we're very much looking forward to that. We might have some guests too Jason Demers, I got in touch with him. He's left the door open to maybe join us on Friday for that playoff preview show. Hopefully he'll be able to make it. Our old buddy, Jordan Sambrook, we haven't seen him in a while. He might be joining us. His Everblades are going to be back in the playoffs and the Kelly Cup very soon. So we could have some guests Friday to be determined, but at the very least, we'll be here with you for sure Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Stanley Cup playoff preview show. So stay tuned for that. We'll be on the air with that. We'll give you everything, right? Series prices, goal score and, leading point score, leading goal score, over or under goals in the series, all those kind of player props, that kind of stuff. We'll break it all down on Friday. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll see you Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern for another edition of the Ice Guys.